I built a clothing brand from scratch to be making 50K a month at 16. And I'm going to walk you through exactly how I did it. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, cool. The clothing brand blueprint, exactly how I built my brand to be making 50K a month at 16. Let's get straight into it. So when I started, this is me, 14-year-old unemployed Aizu, doing nothing, fucking around at school. Life is still peaceful, but I knew something had to change. So from this point onwards, from 14 turning into 15, I started learning how to make money online. I tried everything under the sun. I'm talking about TikTok accounts, getting paid to do clipping, affiliate marketing schemes, drop shipping, reselling. I tried everything under the bus to make money online since this point because I realized this guy over here, 14-year-old Aizu, he knew that something had to change and I had to make money fast. So a couple of months went by and I'm still searching for ways to make money, but nothing's actually clicked yet. I tried dropshipping and it had some success, but not to the point where it could actually change my life, change the trajectory of where I wanted to go. Nothing actually life-changing. But then, a couple of months later, I started digging deep into the e-com space and more specifically, clothing brands. It was the start of 2024, the Euros were coming up, and I knew I wanted to do something around that, something based around football, because the Euros are coming up, it's going to be a big thing in England, everyone's going to tune in, so let's make the most out of it. So I started with around about $700, and this is everything I had. And I wanted to start up a brand with an idea in mind. The idea in mind being that I just wanted to release products related about football. So now from this point onwards, in January 2024, I started diving deeper. I started researching more about e-com, more about clothing brands, which ways you can go about doing it. And I also started developing this idea that I wanted to make come to life. So this is the start. So when you first start off, understanding of your brand is so important. When first starting, you need to ask yourself these three questions. What's your brand idea? Who's your target audience or your ITP? And third, what's your brand vision? Answering these three questions right at the start gives you complete clarity of what you need to do, who you need to target, how can you market your clothes, and what do you want to make essentially. This was one of the big reasons that led to me having success with this. And bear in mind, this is probably the 20th thing I've tried in that whole year. I tried several other things. I ran 20 different TikTok accounts. Some accounts would get 0 views in each video I posted. Some accounts got banned. Some accounts just wouldn't work. I tried non-stop to find ways until the point where I found more about e-com and more about clothing brands. So these three questions are one of the most important things you have to do because without this, without knowing the answers to these questions, you will get nowhere. So the reason why this worked is because once answering these questions in detail, I knew exactly off the back of my hand what my brand idea was, who my target audience was, and what my brand vision was. I knew exactly what it was. Now, because I had specific answers to those questions, I knew what had to be done. I had full clarity. My ICP was footballers, football fans, etc., within the ages of X and Y. Ideally, you want to be as specific as possible because the more specific you are, the more you can tune your product and tune your marketing to those answers. Now, once this was sorted out, the next step is actually making your idea come to life. And this is the designing process. So making the idea come to life, I use both Photoshop and Illustrator to make designs. Those are the best places to use. You can use Canva as well, which is free. Figma as well, you can use. But essentially, I use these two apps to make all my designs. So then for about a month, I was playing around with the designs. I had complete setup of what I wanted to do. My first drop was fully based on the England players. I had a bunch of players that represented Flair, my whole brand. So I created designs for them. Rough execution, but the idea was there. The designs were ready, but not perfect. But how do I make it an actual product? This is the moment I realized it's not about having the best clothes, but it's about having the best system that works for me. All these other creators talk about how to actually start up a clothing brand, and they say contact manufacturers, order samples, perfect the sample, order in bulk, sell at a high margin. That's how you run your clothing brand. I mentioned that I only had less than $700 to start up with, so I knew I had no chance of actually doing that. So this is the moment where I started diving deeper, and this is where things actually start to click. 3 main ways you can actually run your clothing brand. As I briefly mentioned before, one of them is inventory. What inventory is where you sample and buy in bulk from manufacturers, and then when the stock comes to you, you sell at a higher margin. That's essentially what the business model of buying an inventory is for a clothing brand. The second method you can run your clothing brand with when starting off is by using a pre-order. A pre-order is essentially where you put your products up for sale on your website, people buy in advance with the revenue generated from the sales. You use that to actually buy the stock from your manufacturers, then eventually ship out your orders to your customers. You're so reliant on your manufacturers. I say this is because you're essentially waiting for your manufacturers to get the job done, make the clothes, and ship them off in time. And I could tell you now, 9 times out of 10, manufacturers don't get stuff done in time. So again, I knew this wasn't for me. And the third option is print on demand, POD. POD is essentially where you kind of drop ship your own product. You're the middleman between your customer and the manufacturer. So every time someone buys a product from your website, your manufacturer makes the product, packages it, and ships it off to your customer all in one time. When the common person hears the term print on demand, the first thing they actually think about are sites like Printify, Printful, Printly. These websites are shit. Don't ever use them if you actually want to make a clothing brand. They are dog shit. And that's what the 99.9% of people think what print on demand is. Only websites that offer this service. The second con is that the shipping time is a bit longer. It's around about 10 to 14 days. And the third and final con is that there's just a lack of customization with the product in terms of you can't actually turn the exact idea into real life. Whereas with inventory and pre-orders, of course you can. You pretty much can make your idea come to life because you explain to the manufacturer how you want your piece to be made. Now, out of the three, I knew which one was perfect for me. I didn't have enough capital for inventory, and I didn't want to deal with the logistics of a pre-order. So print on demand, it worked for me because it's easy and doable with my product. Now it was just about getting in samples and finding the right one. So I ordered samples from different POD menus until I found the right one. And here are actually some of my first samples I ever had. And even then, when I was sampling, you could tell my product wasn't even finished yet. I was ordering samples until I found the right one. Even when ordering in my first samples, my product still was not perfected. This is the thing that always holds people back from actually making their clothing brand work. Marketing over the actual product. People waste way too much time on sampling. The people who do that mainly use inventory. In the same time you finally perfected your sample, I had already started my brand, dropped my collection, made 10K in total sales, while you've been busy perfecting your ass hoodie. Simple as that. I started marketing my clothes before I even had any samples. These were some of the TikToks I was posting before I even had any samples, before I'd even perfected my product. As you can see here, very, very simple TikToks, and very, very simple TikToks. And why I did this is because to get some sort of attention to my stuff, to get an idea whether if people even liked the idea of what I was trying to do. So why did I do stuff? Although these TikToks might be a bit cringe to look at now, or might be bad to look at now, why did I actually do it? To find out if people actually fucked with the idea. 2, to build some sort of hype before getting any samples in. And 3, to prepare a tiny base / following before I actually posted proper content. This was so important because posting these type of videos got me a couple of thousand views, and I already had some legs to stand on. I gained some followers on TikTok, and then some of those followers followed my Instagram. So I had some followers to stand on. I had some sort of a small following to stand on where when I do post my actual content, people can check out my stuff, and this is where I can really grow. Where attention goes, money flows. That's how it is nowadays. This is with anything you do, not even clothing brand specific, but where attention goes, money flows. Nowadays, to gather people's attentions, that's where the money will go. Wherever people's attention will go, the money will just flow right beside it. So speaking on the basis of this, to clothing brands, you don't even need a good product to actually make this work. You don't even need a good product at all. You just need to know how to market. That's it. This brand, for example, it's a very simple product. It's just a hoodie, some sweatpants with some lines, and their base logo. The reason why they do well is because they pull in numbers like this. Is this brand the conventional way of doing your clothing brand? No, but the pure objective was just to get in as much money as possible. And they did that by finding their own style of content which worked for them. All they had to do was make viral, funny skits and memes, and they just have to be wearing these clothes at the end of the video. That's it, and it's worked for them. That's why they are doing well. It's just a basic ass hoodie with their logo on it, and they are printing like crazy. Why? Here are the simple answers. So now at this point, I found my right manufacturers. I'd ordered all the samples in for everything I needed. So now it was time to start filming content. I had zero budget to play with, no studios, no cameras, just the phone and the boys. What I would do, I would go out into London, grab my boys, use my phone camera, and just start filming. Simple as that. You don't need high-end cameras and a studio to market your clothes. Be pragmatic, work with what you have. This is the most fun part of the journey, being creative, trying out new things, etc., etc. I honestly say this from the bottom of my heart. This is one of the most fun parts of having a clothing brand, where you experiment, where you start being creative, working with what you have. Because this, you could try anything. You have no expectation to do well. You have no expectation to sell out on your first job. No expectations at all. Right now, you're just going to go out there, express yourself, and market your clothes as best as you can. I can tell you now, those days I always look forward to because they're so fun. Some of you may be asking, well, I don't know how to actually make content. I don't know how to actually get views. This is where you should use the 80-20 rule. What is the 80-20 rule? This is what I mean. So when making content, everyone says you have to find your niche and you have to stand out, be unique. But how do you actually do that? This is what separates people from getting no views to actually getting views. So 80%, you find other clothing brands or other creators that you like and you like their brand, see what they're doing, see what posts you're doing, and you take 80% and steal their framework. Don't steal exactly what they actually do, but steal their framework, steal their content ideas, and basically take their framework. The rest of the 20%, you add your own input into it. So 80% you take from someone else, take their ideas and take the stuff that's worked for them. And the 20% you take from yourself and add that onto that. This is one of the best ways to actually go about making content ideas and actually how it works. But in terms of strategy of posting content, this is the best thing you should do. You should post carousels on TikTok, even if your samples haven't arrived yet. Experiment with your posts. Start posting the content from the film day. Keep experimenting until you found your style of content. Once you found it, you rinse and repeat. So as I mentioned previously in the other slide, start posting carousels on TikTok and Instagram, even if your samples haven't even arrived yet. It could be some of your mock-up, right? That's what I did. And you want to experiment with your posts because you've got no expectation, no following. You could do whatever you want. You don't have to follow a specific brand identity yet because there's no brand there yet. So you can experiment. You've gained some views from your carousels. Start posting the content from the film days you've made. So start experimenting with those videos as well. Try these type of videos, those type of videos, different types of formats of videos. And once you've found your style, you'll know you found your style because it will get the most views. Rinse and repeat that type of content until the drop day, essentially. When marketing your clothes, you also want the customer to feel a type of way when they wear your clothes. For example, with this shirt here, it's a Neymar shirt. People when wearing my clothes should feel like Neymar, feel flary, confident, like they're the best baller in the world, etc., etc. You're not just selling a shirt or a hoodie or some pants. Selling an emotion, a feeling, a movement. You want to create a cult and movement around the brand. I'll give you an example. There's a brand called Tame Psychotic by Marshall Cruz. He has created a movement with his own brand. He's got his own cult of people that follow him, follow the brand, and buy products from every single drop he releases. And that is a prime example of selling an emotion, selling a feeling, and creating a movement. And as I said earlier on, marketing is key. And another sector of marketing you need to be focusing on is email marketing. Email marketing equals guaranteed sales. Your main focus should be on gathering as many emails as possible. For email marketing, you should be using Klaviyo, or you could use Omnisend, but Klaviyo is the best one to use. Email marketing is literally a cheat code. These people who sign up to your email list are guaranteed to see your emails. This is one of my clients' email lists. Nearly 30k people on his email list within 3 months of starting his brand. Within 3 months of starting his brand from scratch, he's gathered 30,000 emails. It's so important you nail your email marketing correctly. This is where you can gain loyal customers, get more returning customers, and you keep your customers up to date with everything you're about to do. When email marketing, you should have several different emails being sent to your customers at all times. So here I have information about the drop day. Here's a giveaway email. Here's a stores live email. I've got 7, 8, maybe 10 different emails I send to customers. I've got a welcome email, confirmation email. All of these emails should be sent out to your customers regularly on a consistent basis. Now I want to talk about actual drop dates and when you should drop. You should only drop once you've done these following things: grown your following, built your audience, and grown your email list. Then you're ready to have your first drop. As you can see here, grown your following to a substantial amount of followers, get some email lists into your bag, and gather some good views. These are the three main things. Once you've done these, then you're ready to drop. It's very simple and it's very possible. It's not hard to do. You can actually make this work. Now, alongside email marketing is your website. People always overcomplicate it. The goal of a website is to make it as easy as possible for your customer to navigate, for them to go from point A to point B. That's it. Simple. So point A being the homepage, point B being checking out. You don't want there to be any friction in the middle. Friction is one too many pages or one too many buttons for them to click, because there's definitely times where you're about to buy something, but the website makes you go to this page and that page and this page and that page. And by the time you get there, you're like, fuck this, I don't want to buy it anyway. That's the goal of a website, to make it as easy as possible for your customer just to navigate through your website. And people overcomplicate it too much. You don't need these overcomplicated 3D animations on your website to make it look this and that. You just need to make it simple. You're only as good as the systems that you have in your business. And the priority of what you should be running with your clothing brand is operations, marketing, then your product. Operations being the most important, the product actually being the least important. The reason why I say this is because your operations is basically how you run your business. If your systems are good in place, this is everything. Then after that is your marketing. Without this doesn't even matter. I've showed you examples where the product doesn't even matter. It's purely just marketing. Like the wants and needs brand I just showed you earlier on. That's pure marketing. Having a clothing brand is so simple. Making it grow, it's so simple. But the hardest part about a clothing brand, it's about keeping it simple. That's the hardest bit. Now, bro, with this whole thing, I can tell you, having a clothing brand is one of the best ways you can make money online. For me, I think POD is the way to do that. Especially if you've got not too much to invest in yourself to start with. And also, if you want to make quick money, you can do it. And if you actually want to make a brand, you can do this as well. Because you can very much easily get a couple of good, successful drops and just dip out of the business straight away. Or you can very much easily actually create a brand by doing this. Because the reason why I think you should do POD is because you can always transition out of it. The reason why I like it so much is because it's very low risk and high rewarding. You can start off by using POD to actually run your clothing brand. You get to a certain point where you've got enough money into the bank where you can actually expand. So you can always go from starting from POD, growing, and actually making the transition from POD to inventory. And once you go from there, you scale vertically with your brand. You can start releasing more versatile products, hats, hoodies, distressed shirts, pants, jeans, everything you can do, because you've got yourself to the point where you've got money in the bank, you've got money to play with. Boom, let's go from POD to inventory. And you can scale like crazy from that point. So I hope you enjoyed this video. That's everything that I'm going to cover through for today. But other than that, I'll see you guys later. Peace.